Hey there, www.andrewmarkmusic.com. This is part 3 in my Investigating Kabbalah series. I'll link in the description Tony Kosanek's 6-hour presentation at Kabbalah. This will be rather short. I have two topics that I want to address, and first is this stage model that he brings up about basic needs being fulfilled, and then onto wealth, and then fame and fortune, and then eventually this dissatisfaction that takes place once you've achieved all those things, and somehow at that point one becomes enlightened. The first thing I would say to that, I'm not seeing anywhere a culture of people who have attained that highest level and have created something different than the brutality of capitalism. So where is this, Bodhisattva culture? Where is this highly developed Kabbalist culture where billionaires have become dissatisfied and have created another way of living that's better than this Darwinian freak show, economic Darwinianism. Okay, so you have this. I've recently been asking, where did the values come from that values people kicking a ball around, making more in a week than most people will make in a lifetime doing hard labor? Where did this come from? Did it just come out of nowhere? I think there's an answer to that. I think Tony presented why civilization looks the way it does today, and this is because the Kabbalists came out of the Middle East in the 1400s covertly and now have an enormous influence, especially via the screen in Hollywood. So, the second point I'd make, it's certainly, that view of development is certainly not Christian, and in saying this, I'm not arguing for Christianity. I think it was wrong for the Roman Catholic Church to make injunctions against the Jews, and certainly I've said many times that Christianity's failure is a failure of economics, and to have a healthy economics without usury, in a nutshell, on slavery. So a healthy Christian economics would not have slavery and usury in it, and a part of why Christianity fell is because it failed to do that. That's neither here nor there per se. I also want to be fair in this presentation, and be reasonable about my criticisms. I'm not necessarily attacking anyone here. I'm just looking at the claims. So, this is very disturbing because it has an analogy to the caste system. So if you're at the bottom of that pyramid just struggling to get your basic needs met, you're just lowly, spiritually and lowly evolved, right? Compared to, the sports and entertainment elite, who are, according to this model, much more spiritually evolved. And that's extraordinarily problematic to me. Okay, so then there's the metaphysics behind it. I'm going to use a rather strange analogy here of Casper the Friendly Ghost. And we're going to, investigate Casper the Friendly Ghost. Well, the first thing I can say is I can turn on the TV and I can watch this cartoon and get a good laugh. So there's evidence that Casper exists, right? And then if I investigate further, perhaps I can find who the artists who created this cartoon and find the original drawings of Casper, maybe get a bunch of them, put them together, and watch Casper come to life in animation. So there's evidence that Casper exists. We can investigate it and see that there's something substantial behind it. Now, from what I can gather, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that we can do to find out that any of these claims that he's asserting are real. I mean, 600,000 bits of pieces smashed together from a world soul, having to do 600 and some odd things to correct that condition. Where is there any evidence that this is anything just other than assertions, from especially when you look at it from an omni, a tri-omni ideas about God, or especially a Jewish-centric God. I don't know how you would even go about doing some injunctions to prove any of these claims. Okay, so I'm in saying that, I'm not saying that there are better injunctions to perform for Christianity or Islam or Hinduism. I just don't think there's any. I'm a Christian Gnostic, so I believe we're living within the confines of a deceptive God, and that's where all the evidence points to. But okay, so we'll keep it at that. Not so great when it comes to metaphysics and being able to just demonstrate anything in alignment with the claims that are being made, and how problematic this neo-caste system is from my perspective. Not so good. Anyway, we'll continue this series as 2020 passes by and as time allows. And my hope here is that anything that I'm critical of is reasonable and fair. And again, I said in my last video, I probably have to say it in every video here, I have no problem with the analogy I used, or the comparison I used was the idea of jihad. If someone wants to practice this phenomenological jihad, this interior conscious whatever it is, I don't have a problem with that. It's when it gets projected onto the nation state outside in the empirical world, that jihad becomes extraordinarily problematic, and this is where Kabbalah becomes extraordinarily problematic. No problem with any Jewish person wanting to practice Kabbalah within the confines of their interior self. But when it gets played out in the nation states and Israel's going to be this, first off, dudes, correct yourself first, please look at it from a Christian perspective. Jesus said to take the log out of your own eye. And I don't see that bombing the crap out of your neighbors and setting up mass systems of usury and all the rest of it see Dr. E. Michael Jones for criticism of Jewish behavior in the last few hundred years. And I say that knowing that they're not the only people behaving badly. So yeah, it's extraordinarily problematic from my perspective. Okay, www.andrewmartinez.com. Peace out.